Hello and welcome to another episode of Intersections Conversations, the podcast where we delve into the multifaceted aspects of our society. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're exploring a critical aspect of law enforcement, the collaboration between local law enforcement and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension in addressing hate crimes. We'll also examine the indispensable role of public outreach and community engagement. How does involving the community contribute to identifying and addressing hate crimes? As we navigate these topics, remember, your participation makes a difference. If you find today's discussion enlightening, don't forget to subscribe, and share. Let's spread knowledge and foster a more informed community. Let's embark on this journey of understanding and combating hate crimes together. This is Intersections Conversation. In Minnesota, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, also known as the BCA, plays a pivotal role in strengthening the efficacy of local law enforcement in addressing hate crimes, a critical issue at the intersection of state and federal civil rights statutes. Acting as a bridge between various levels of law enforcement, the BCA provides essential support to local, state, tribal, and federal partners, ensuring a cohesive and comprehensive approach to hate crime investigations. This collaboration is not just about pooling resources and expertise. It's about creating a unified front against violations of civil rights, ensuring that investigations are thorough and that justice is served in accordance with both state and federal laws. Furthermore, the BCA's involvement highlights the importance of public outreach and community engagement. By fostering strong relationships with communities, the BCA aids in building trust and encourages community members to report hate crimes. This community involvement is crucial as it not only aids in identifying and addressing hate crimes more effectively, but also helps in understanding the underlying societal issues that give rise to such offenses. Thus, the BCA's role transcends mere investigation, encompassing a broader commitment to civil rights, community trust, and the fight against bias-motivated crimes in Minnesota. In Minnesota, effective collaboration among local, state, tribal, and federal partners is crucial for addressing hate crimes, with particular attention to the state's diverse communities and historical context. This collaboration should actively involve specific community partners in tribal nations such as the Dakota and Ojibwe, who are integral to the state's heritage. Public outreach and community engagement must acknowledge the unique histories and experiences of these groups, especially the legacies of discrimination and displacement. Engaging community leaders, cultural organizations, and advocacy groups in these communities can provide valuable insights and foster trust. In doing so, law enforcement can gain a deeper understanding of the specific challenges and concerns of different groups, leading to more effective and empathetic responses to hate crimes. Awareness of Minnesota's complex history, particularly the historical injustices faced by Native Americans and Black Americans, is essential in this process. It not only helps in recognizing the root causes of bias and prejudice, but also underscores the importance of respectful, inclusive community involvement in creating a just and equitable society. We will take a look at a few communities that we need to pay attention to. We know that what we are about to share must be nuanced in order to not stereotype community members. So we will address American Indian communities, Black Americans, immigrant communities, and we will address religious communities in our next episode. Working with tribal leaders in Minnesota requires an understanding of the unique legal, cultural, and historical contexts of the Native American tribes within the state. Here are 7 key considerations. Sovereignty and legal framework. Tribal sovereigns, right? Recognize that Native American tribes have sovereign authority over their members and territory. This sovereignty is a crucial aspect of their political and legal status. Be aware of the complexities surrounding jurisdiction on tribal lands, especially regarding criminal matters, which can involve tribal, federal, and state laws. Cultural sensitivity and respect. Cultural awareness. Educate yourself and your team about the history, traditions, and customs of the tribal communities you are working with. This knowledge is essential for respectful interactions. Cultural competence training for law enforcement and other professionals on cultural competence to better understand and interact with tribal communities. 3, building trust and relationship. Regular communication may establish and maintain open lines of communication with tribal leaders. Regular dialogue can foster mutual understanding and collaboration. Partnerships. Work towards building long-term partnerships, not just one-off consultations. Genuine, ongoing engagement is key to building trust. Historical context and trauma. Historical traumas acknowledge the historical trauma experienced by Native American communities, including forced displacement, broken treaties, and cultural suppression. Understand how these historical events continue to impact tribal communities today, influencing their interactions with government entities. 5, community engagement. Involve tribal leaders in decisions that affect their communities. Their input is invaluable in creating effective and, culturally appropriate strategies. And support and collaborate on initiatives led by the tribal communities themselves. Addressing specific needs. Tailored approaches recognize that each tribal community has its own unique needs and challenges. Avoid one-size-fits-all approaches. Resource allocated. 7, Wantrader, and effectively to address issues within tribal communities, including health, education, and law enforcement needs. 7, collaborative problem solving. Engage in joint training sessions and workshops to address specific challenges such as hate crimes or substance abuse within tribal communities. Encourage the sharing of best practices and success stories between different jurisdictions and tribal governments. Working with tribal leaders in Minnesota is about creating a partnership based on respect, trust, and mutual understanding. It requires a commitment to learning about and appreciating the distinct legal statuses, cultures, and histories of the tribal communities, as well as recognizing and addressing the challenges they face in contemporary society. Working effectively with Black American communities, particularly in a state like Minnesota with its own unique historical and social context, requires a thoughtful, informed, and respectful approach. Here are key considerations for fostering a positive and productive relationship. Understanding historical and social context. Recognize the historical experiences of Black Americans, including slavery, segregation, civil rights struggles, and ongoing racial discrimination. Be aware of current issues affecting Black communities, such as systemic racism, economic disparities, and police community relations. Building trust and relationships. Genuine engagements. Approach interactions with sincerity and a genuine desire to understand and support the community. Main consistent communication. Establish and maintain open and consistent channels of communication. Regular dialogue can help build trust and mutual respect. 3, community engagement and inclusion. Involve community leaders and members in decision-making processes, especially on issues that directly impact. So one GIC initiative is, recognize and support initiatives and programs led by community members and organizations. Cultural competence and sensitivity. Not cultural awareness trainings. Implement cultural competence training for individuals and organizations working with Black communities to better understand their perspectives and experiences. And after diversity. Appreciate the diversity within Black communities, recognizing that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Not addressing systemic issues. Focus on equics. Work towards addressing systemic inequities that disproportionately affect Black communities, such as in housing, education, employment, and healthcare. Collaborative problem solving. Engage in joint efforts to tackle issues like racial profiling, discrimination, and economic disparities. Advocacy and allyship. Stand as allies in the fight against racism and discrimination. This involves not only supporting Black communities, but also advocating for change within broader societal structures. Promote representation. Encourage and facilitate greater representation of Black individuals in various spheres, including government, law enforcement, education, and business. 7, be open to receiving and acting on feedback from community members about how to better serve and support them. Recognize learning. I recognize that understanding and working effectively with Black communities is an ongoing learning process. It's collaboration with local organizations. You partner with local groups, collaborate with local organizations, churches, and groups that are integral to the community for more effective outreach and engagement. Working with Black American communities in Minnesota or elsewhere requires a multifaceted approach centered on respect, empathy, and a commitment to addressing both historical injustices and contemporary challenges. It's about forging partnerships that are based on trust, mutual respect, and a shared goal of creating equitable and thriving communities. Working with Minnesota's immigrant communities, which include diverse groups from places like Liberia, Somalia, Hmong, and other regions involves understanding their unique experiences and addressing their specific needs. Here's a guide to effectively engage with these communities. Cultural sensitivity and understand. Learn about cultures. Educate yourself and your organization about the cultures, traditions, and backgrounds of the immigrant communities. This understanding is crucial for respectful and effective communication. Be aware of language barriers. Provide access to translators or multilingual materials when necessary. Building trust. Regular and sincere engagement with community leaders and members is key to building trust. This involves being present in the community and participating in community events. Chapter communication. Approach interactions with respect and an openness to understand different perspectives and experiences. It's addressing specific needs. Services. Recognize that immigrant communities may have specific needs, such as assistance with legal documentation, language services, or access to healthcare and education. Support systems. I'm establishing or connecting with support systems that cater to their, specific cultural, social, and economic needs. For community partnerships, collaborate with community leaders, local organizations, and advocacy groups that have established trust within these communities. Power missions that empower the immigrant community through education, economic opportunities, and civic engagement. So 5, public outreach and education. Implement public awareness campaigns that educate both the immigrant community about their rights and the broader community about the contributions and challenges of immigrants. Cultural exchange programs, an understanding between immigrant and non-immigrant communities to foster mutual respect and cohesion. Advocacy LSU. Maxing discrimination and bias to actively address and advocate against discrimination, bias, and xenophobia that immigrant communities may face. An advocate for policies and legislation that support the well-being and rights of immigrants. Providing resources. Access to resources. Ensure that immigrants have access to essential services, including healthcare, education, legal aid, and housing. Distribute information in a way that is accessible and understandable to non-native English speakers. Law enforcement collaboration. Training cultural competency. Law enforcement and public service providers should receive training in cultural competency to better serve immigrant communities. Community policing strategies that involve collaboration with immigrant communities to address safety and crime prevention. Working with Minnesota's immigrant communities requires a commitment to cultural sensitivity, inclusivity, and proactive engagement. It's about creating an environment where immigrants feel valued, understood, and able to access the resources and opportunities necessary for their well-being and integration into the broader community. Today's discussion underscores the importance of teamwork between local, state, tribal, and federal law enforcement in the intricate process of investigating hate crimes, coupled with the vital role of community involvement. Remember, combating hate crimes is a collective effort that requires sensitivity, understanding, and community support. If today's episode resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it. Together, we can create a more inclusive, aware, and safe society. I'm Jason, reminding you to stay curious, engaged, and connected. Join us next time on Intersections Conversations for more deep dives into important social issues. Until then, take care and continue making positive connections in your community.